Broken souls doing work for the honor roll. Only worry about getting paper and checks and like on socials. The copper fill each week when I would please no more for me. The lights that need more LEDs and big flat screens is what they ask to you and me. We can't complain or ever want.
We're here. We're live. You already know what it is. Welcome to The Projection.
IV.
My name is Isaiah Velez. Glad you could join us. This is something that I've been wanting to start for a minute, especially because as of late, I've been branching out and creating and executively producing with a ton of different artists that I love. They're my friends. I make music in tandem with the way I live life. That's just how we do it. And so I'm excited because I'm joined with the unprofessional Christians right now. We got Brod, a.k.a. Brodi Phoenix, here with us. We also got BERN, a.k.a. Jon Bernal.
What's up?
Yeah, and we live. We excited to be here.
We're technically challenged. We only got 2 mics, so bear with us.
I mean, who cares, bro?
Right, you gotta work with what you got. You know?
That's what I'm saying, you know?
2 or more mics are gathered, you know. The Lord is there.
Amaso, Kanye.
Amen.
Untie, bow tie, tie, bow tie. We're already off to our stuff. This is Unprofessional Christians, you feel me? And we just dropped a project last Friday that we are very excited about. Do you guys remember what date that was? Was it the 2nd? I think it was the 2nd.
Yeah.
Let's go, May 2nd. But what's also crazy is that we recorded that all of last year. We did that in the summer of 2024. I feel like we've had time to live with this and then release it, and people are hearing it for the first time. But I wanted to kind of open up the discussion kind of with like, you've had this project in your ears longer than everyone else, right? Because we made it and we've held on to it. I want to know what this project means to you and then kind of how it's grown for you, what it's done for your faith, what it's done for you as just a human in general. That's kind of where I want to start the discussion. So what's up with it? Let me hear some of your thoughts. Off the dome.
Off the dome, straight up freestyle is joint. I feel like for me, it just kind of puts in perspective of what it means to be a creative and as a Christian, but not necessarily being put in a box and just being in the typical and the norm of things as what they expect of you or what the church expects of you to say. And we can hit on topics that are pressy, that are controversial, and we're not scared to say the dirt of things. Not dirty things necessarily, right? We don't want to compromise our integrity.
John's pretty dirty.
But John, he's a little dirty. He's Joe Dirt dirty, you know what I'm saying? If y'all seen that movie, Joe. But yeah, I feel like it challenged me to think outside the box and understand that creativity is not limited. And I feel like, I don't know, we get so caught up on this secular, sacred divide as opposed to seeing music as a creation of God and what you do with that, you know, is, you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So whoever hears it, you know, we can relate to people in the church, outside of the church, but still at the core of it, we don't compromise our integrity. And I think that's the biggest thing that it challenged me is to be able to write differently, to hear how y'all write, how y'all challenge me to step up my pen game and really hit on pressy topics that, you know, that people need to hear. And so
Absolutely. That's good. You want to build on that?
Yeah, I had Loco, you know, for like 2 years before I even brought it to you guys.
It's crazy how that can happen, right? How you just pocket it.
Yeah, like I was talking to Wifey about it, like in the truck when the project dropped. I was like, oh, it's so crazy that like I would drive around and like listen to that beat and just imagine what it would sound like, and then to now hear it on Spotify or Apple Music. Shout out
Apple Music,
wherever you're streaming. Just to like hear it, you're like, wow, like so much has changed. Like when I had originally planned for Loco, was like it was gonna be like a song with like me and my cousin who's like a Dallas rapper, and we were gonna do something with that, and then just like with the vibe and the energy that we had like in the studio, it was like really cool because it was like it didn't feel like I was giving up on this song. It felt like I was bringing a song to a table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, when you're like, like somebody invites you home and you're like, someone invites you to your house for like dinner and you like bring like a dessert. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, that's
felt like, hey guys, like here's this, like let's work on this. And I remember it was like, was Loco was that one of our first songs that we worked on?
Yeah, it was like I was telling somebody that we kind of did a lot of the project backwards.
Yeah.
Right? Because we did the track listing doesn't necessarily mean that we made the songs in those order. I think it was the second song we made. I think we made Unprofessional Christians.
Yeah, we did
first.
make Unprofessional first.
All right, so those who haven't heard, we've got Unprofessional Christians, which starts it off, title track, And then after that, we've got
We should dissect it. You want to dissect it?
why we put it in that order?
We should name the songs, and then we should dissect it a little bit of them.
Okay, I'm down. All right, so the track list is basically Unprofessional Christians
Yeah.
first. Then we've got Liquor and Cheese, which is Brod's interlude. Then after that, we've got
Only Die Once.
Only Die Once, which is my favorite. And then we've got Damn, which is BERN's interlude. And last but not least, we've got Loco, which is the fan favorite, at least from the live performance.
And then an unofficial like freestyle.
Facts, Childlike Freestyle, which is out on SoundCloud under my name, Isaiah Velez. If you're trying to find it, go find my Instagram, click my bio. But let's talk about that, right? Because first and foremost, I want to answer my own question, and I want to say that, like, for me, I feel like I was able to push into a place that I wouldn't be able to push into otherwise by writing with you guys. Like for me, like, I have insecurities when it comes to producing and it comes to mixing. There's a perfectionism for me where it's like, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be to this like nth degree, like perfection. And when it came to working with you guys, I felt like I had to decide if I was going to like put that aside or let that get in the way. Because at the end of the day, everything can always be better. But what we're talking about is this notion of like, none of us can make something that's the best. The concept is unprofessional Christians, right? So I had to be willing to accept that. And I think like, that's why I'm grateful for this project. And that makes its way straight up into the first track. So let's jump into the first track. Unprofessional Christians. Now hold that mic. You hold that mic because you opened the song. Broken Souls. Like,
Oh yeah. Do you want to go lyric by lyric?
not lyric by lyric, but let's talk a little bit about how you opened that song up. You presented this song to us, and then we kind of met you. Honestly, like, I executively produced the project, but you kind of like were the director of this. Yeah. Of this film.
Maybe. No.
I feel like a director of photography. I feel like he graced us with his beautiful acting on some MBJ type time. And shout out to Michael B.
Yeah.
Jordan. And then you just directed the crap out of this. So talk to us about Unprofessional Christians.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, some Cougar time, man.
Dang. So that makes Broad Michael B. Jordan and you Ludwig.
Okay, bet.
All right.
I'm with that.
I'll be
Go
Haley
see Sinners
Seinfeld.
if you haven't seen it. It goes in the pocket of what we talking about.
I'll be Haley. I'm just kidding. Pause.
Not Haley.
That first line, I mean, broken souls doing work for the honor roll. I had that for a little bit, and I wrote that basically because I had, like, when you're growing up, you have like you like in elementary school. It made me think of elementary school when you're like, you're only doing things to get like accreditation. You know, like the honor society. Like, it's all like you're doing all this stuff in school to like build up a rapport to be good in the next thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what made me feel like that. And it made me feel like, okay, like, why is everybody being professional with our faith? Like, when did we become professional like this? And so that's kind of how I approached this song, was just like, dude, like, what are we even doing here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I like the project in the way that it does that too. Like, it's like, it sounds a little rough. Like, the album sounds, the EP sounds rough, which is what I like about it. You know, it's giving like church clothes Lecrae, you know, like early mixtape Lecrae. And I feel like, you know, I'm not going to at Lecrae, but we've lost that as Christian artists. Like,
It's almost too clean.
We've compromised creativity for the sake of commercialism. And that's not what God does. God was never commercial. Like, the man created spiders. You know what I mean?
Now he preaching.
I'm just saying, like God created things we don't like, and he created things that we use. And like, when did our art start reflecting that? You know what I mean?
That's
so
good.
That's kind of why
pass that mic to Brod, because then after he hops on with the hook and the verse, you hop on talking about, I hear you burn, you know. And
I hear you burn. I don't know. I kind of approached it like mixtape, the project, in a way, because there's so many different facets and perspectives. So I was talking about a relationship. I kind of had the mindset of just like a early Wayne Drought days or Cole's warm up Friday Night Lights, where I'm talking about relationships, you know, and just all the baggage that I'm going into it, or even in the church realm of dating and relationships and having to present yourself a certain way when behind closed doors, this is what's really going on. And and that's how I approached it. I mean, my verse and most of the tracks and the other track, Liquor and Cheese, is just approaching it with a mixtape feel, and I just write whatever I feel, whatever comes to the heart. Not really anything in mind. I just hear the melody and just kind of bounce off of it. So I didn't really connect the dots as much as maybe y'all did in the project, but I kind of
but I would push you back, and I know you're gonna push back too. So like, because I feel like there, as much as you did do that, you did approach it as a mixtape. There's a lot of like your plight when it comes to being a young single Christian man, and I think that there are other Christian men that are single just like you that can relate, and there are also women who have hit me up saying that Unprofessional Christian is their favorite song. There's an authenticity.
It's a subconscious.
There's a very real thing you're talking about on that verse.
I'm talking about you. Yeah.
Like he opens it up with a very, very abstract opening, talking about a concept, and it kind of introduced, and you kind of land it. So I don't know what you were gonna say, but that's definitely what
I was gonna piggyback on what you said. Like, I think what makes this first title track like the most applicable to everybody is because like us three are presenting three completely different scenarios on how we feel like the church is your modern day like musical or Broadway play.
Facts.
Everyone's playing a part in this building, in this enterprise that we call church. And for me, with my verse, if you look at it, like it articulates like this image of somebody who's just going on Sunday, they're going on Easter, maybe they're going on Christmas. They say they're Christian, but then they're like not really there.
Right.
And then you have people like Brod who are single and they've grown up in a society that says, hey, church is a place where we can not only find identity but find a loved one who we can walk in purpose with.
Yes.
And it's hard to find that right now. And then you drop your verse, and your verse is like, hey, like there's also people here that kind of don't want to be here because they've already been hurt by the church.
That's a fact.
And that was and those are like the three groups that we found ourselves in.
Yeah.
And it highlights it really well in each of our verses. Like Brod's like, I'm gonna like that's what happens when cherry on top and dudes split. Yeah, and Bathsheba out here bathing. I'm gonna need a U-Haul for all these chicks' baggage, and I'm like, yo, like everyone here is just like there's one line that I wrote where I was like, we tithe and we make sure we keep the receipts.
Yes.
So like we can get a tax break back, and then Isaiah hits us back with like I'm gonna like real faith is when I'm standing at the shore with my water, with the water coming over my toes.
Yes.
Like it's like I'm deconstructing the like sociological parts of it.
Yeah.
Brod is deconstructing the relational part of it, and then you're deconstructing the like the rules and the structure that we have around it. And I think that's what makes it kind of cool.
We're challenging the capital C church, right? And so I feel like my last line, the last line you hear right before John closes it is, y'all keep blaming sin on Satan as if the throne's for the taking. If I can't own a mistake, the atonement I dare to waste. And I think it's like, if we're being as real now, to put a bow on top of it all, is we're getting real, because if we can't get real and take ownership, then we're wasting what God died for. And I think that that's what the tone and theme of the whole project is, from the title to the next track. So let's jump into that, because we already have 13 minutes, which is crazy because we have so much to say about this project. But next is your song. And that's when I feel like you tap that mixtape era. Like, you want to talk about mixtape, bro? Now, this is one of the last songs. I think this might have been the last song on the project that was recorded. And we wanted to push Brod. We wanted to make sure that he had to go into a pocket.
I feel like I was slacking a little bit. I was kind of like,
I was
performing a track live had a freestyle because I forgot the lyrics.
Nah, bro.
After that, I retired humbly.
Nah, he thinks he retired. He ain't really retired. But you slayed that, Jon.
I appreciate
bro.
it.
I love that track very much.
I just like the concept. Obviously, liquor and cheese is a symbolism of, communion with bread and wine, but in a way that's not structured, in a way that's, pre-conversion. It's like nothing's pretty, before Christ. And, it's just authentic self. Liquor and cheese is just symbolism of that, like this pre-conversion, trying to find authenticity. And I just like how you could just, I don't know, just find yourself in that. that's really the simplicity of it. I don't know how much I can elaborate on it.
No, that's good. I think, you came in with the idea of we don't take wine at communion, it's liquor and cheese. What I took from that and what I feel like the song says is this element of like, again, that's there. All due respect to people who follow tradition and respect with reverence, sacrament,
and religiosity, which is not necessarily bad, but when it's misplaced.
Exactly. And so for us, I feel like because we had the platform, we already put ourselves in that position to poke at this. We poked at this idea of like, at some churches they drink wine, at some churches they drink grape juice. You know what I mean? So the idea is, are you reflecting on what God did when we say we broke bread, because it is reflective of his body being broken for us? When we sip wine or grape juice and reflecting that his blood was poured out for us, we're still touching on communion regardless of if we're having liquor and cheese instead of crackers and juice,
And I also see it as a symbol of like sanctification is not pretty. There's
That's
journeys.
good. That's good.
You're getting in the mud. Yeah, and it happens, man. We're trying to grow, and it takes time. Sanctification is a process, and I just like the symbolism of liquor and cheese and how you think of it. Like I think of a liquor store, and it just seems like you're in the projects in the ghetto. It's kind of ratchet. It's not pretty, people on the corner selling. Like just symbolism of how like God will redeem something that's completely dirty and make it repolished. And so liquor and cheese is that representation. So you got something, Bern?
I love that.
I was just gonna say when I was writing that chorus, I just picked the one thing that'll absolutely crack up my stomach, and that was cheese.
Yeah.
My wife was like, "Why would you pick that if it cracked?" And I was like, "I don't know." But then now looking back, I'm like, "Well, it's sometimes it's a sacrifice, and sometimes you got to work with it." That's how Passover started,
Yeah.
They worked with what they had, unleavened bread.
That's good. That's a word.
So it's like, you know what I mean?
No, it was good. And I mean, you have the mic, so let's jump into track 3. Only Die Once, which is one that, I have a distinct memory. We were on the back end coming back from filming the Last Time music video with Timmy, shout outs Timmy, for the IT department project. Which is
a crazy shoot.
And you wanted, facts, great times. And you wanted to...
I only slept 2 hours that night. That was crazy.
It was a great day. You wanted to show the song, and Timmy had never heard it before, so you performed it live on the spot. We found the YouTube beat and we pressed play.
Yeah.
Only Die Once, man. Where was your mindset on that? Because I think I'll follow up on where I met you at, but talk a little bit about that song.
Well, for starters, my wife hates this song.
Why does she hate it so much?
She thinks it's the most corny thing in the world. And
why? Because wifey got the strap in his King James?
Erica thinks like it's such like a youth group, youth group track. And I agree with her. I'm like, yeah, this is KB's church clap. This is my KB's church clap. And I kind of did it like that on purpose. And I told her this. I was like, look, I understand where you're coming from. I feel the exact same way about tracks like this. But when you look at it from like a perspective of the entire project, like it fits in really well.
Yeah.
Whereas like other tracks like this wouldn't fit super well. Like it's obvious when, come on. It's obvious when like Tedashi's trying to drop another chainsaw.
Shout out to Tadashi though.
You know what I mean?
116 Click raised us, so we can't like.
They did. I'm kind of hating on Unk right now, but like you can tell like in the middle of a project when it doesn't fit.
I agree.
Andy Mineo, I feel like does a really good job at sneaking those tracks in.
Andy, you that man, bro.
He does a really good job. I told you that
when I saw you in Best Buy, bro. You that guy.
You're that guy. And this is that one song, but the idea for Only Die Once came from like a verse that Paul writes, where he talks about like the three heavens, and then there's like another verse. I can't remember the verse, but it's like if it's like you die not only spiritually but in flesh.
Yeah.
And so that's where that verse came from, was like we may die, but we're only going to die once. We're not going to die spiritually.
Facts.
And so that's where that song came from. I was trying my best in this track to sound like 21 Savage, to be honest. I was listening to a lot of 21 like in my workouts, and I was like, oh man, I could hit this just like 21, like 21.
That's
like you could go, if you're listening to this track, you can go in your car and say 21, like after every single line I write, like me and my family, we don't pray too hard. We don't take too kindly of demons right here. Like you could just throw that up there and it'll work.
It's got a unique grit and punch to it, and it makes it stand out. And that's why we liked it in the middle of the project between the two interludes, in my opinion. But But then also, like, I met you in that space, and that's part of my favorite thing about working with different people is like wherever you guys are at, I kind of have to dare to creatively push myself to meet you in that space. So when I heard that song, that's not typically a beat that I would put myself on. Me personally, I'm more of like the emotional, feely guy. You feel me? So meeting you there was mad fun, and I think
I'm drowning.
I hit up Steve, shout outs Locke, the other day, and I was telling him I think that this is probably my favorite verse on the whole project for me, and I also feel like it encapsulates where I am right now in terms of my faith journey because you set it up like that when it comes to the idea. So when you say like it's a youth group track, I'm like, nah, because for me it's like the song is talking about this idea of like when it comes to the idea of lust and temptation, the only way that you could really understand what it is I'm talking to you about is if you're willing to get as authentic as we've been between track 1 and track 3. And we have no intention of lessening up on that authenticity throughout the project. So I then anchor that point on Jesus and the fact that like Jesus himself was tempted. I'm so glad that Jesus knows what it's like to hear a whisper of temptation in his ear because it makes it so sincere.
Okay,
when I declare these things, you know, when I declare, "Oh my God,"
I was waiting to see if you were gonna go into that lyric.
I feel like that's what it's about. It's like we all wrestle with lust, bro. We all wrestle. And I was talking to somebody today about the idea of lust, and it's like lust is this impatience with being uncomfortable, with this impatience of being in pain, and everyone can relate to that. It's not about just the sexual stuff. It's about just like wanting something different than what you've currently got going on right now, you know? And so like, I think that song talks about that a lot when it talks to, it's spiritual warfare. I would say this song, because it's so youth groupy, it sounds like a battle cry precisely. And that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I was just going off of that with lust. I feel like you hit the nail in the coffin. It's this discontentment and not really trusting what God has for you. Like he wants what's best for us. And yet when we try to jump the gun on that, when we try to microwavable popcorn that and we try to make that instant gratification is that, you know, it's only the detriment of us when God has so much more. And
Facts.
I feel like lust is that shortcoming
Facts
of everything and it strips us of what God truly has for us. And like you said, it's that impatience, it's that rush of something that's prematurely like not for us, you know. And if we just wait a little bit longer, you know, it's for the best and for the better.
Good, bro.
So
that's good.
In a 21 Savage way.
21.
21.
Then we get into the most played song on Apple Music right now.
Dude, it's crazy.
People love Damn. They love the interlude from BERN.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I love this song. First and foremost, we've been making jokes because shout outs to Medial Point. We've been told that this project is on some Dream Junkies type timing, and if you're familiar with Christian hip hop, then you know what it means to have Dream Junkies type timing.
That
This
means
song
I'm
was
going to start a
heavily inspired
podcast
for
in
me
4
as
years.
a producer, the person who partnered with you in making this song, by John Gibbs. There's a song called "A Player's Change of Heart" where he has an interlude and he brings in different vocals, and it stretches over about 2-minute period. And when I showed this to Timmy, he was like, "You don't think the interlude's a little too long? Like the layers of his vocals kind of coming in piece by piece?" And I'm like, yeah. When you feel damned by God, doesn't that feel a little too long?
Yeah.
So talk about that, bro. Talk about the idea of God damns in that song.
Well, it started with an idea of like how God hardened Pharaoh's heart, and so I was thinking about like how wherever you lean on like the theological perspective of like, you know, Calvinism or Arminianism, like you think like, okay, like are there people that are that's hearts have been hardened? They'll never be won. They'll never be won over by God. But then even like if like for this song, if you're Arminian or Calvinist, like you understand like at some point God is going to damn somebody.
Sure.
And so that's kind of where the idea of the song came from. Was just me like wondering like where am I? Like, where am I in this place? Because you ask yourself that constantly as a Christian. If you're not asking yourself, like, where am I, God? Like, you're just having too good of a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, yeah. Like, that's just how it is. This track was super authentic. I mean, like, you talked about how, like, the last song was your authentic song. And, you know, the interlude was Broad's, and this one was definitely mine. And I wanted a space in this project that felt like it was very me.
Yeah.
or I could bring the audience into what I was feeling, what I'm feeling at the time.
That's good.
Which is like, hey, like it's a question, it's a wonder, and you never hear certain artists talk about that. Definitely not like Christian artists all the time, like in the midst of it.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to kind of throw like a line out and be like, look, hey, like I feel this way. You know what I mean? Like I'm a human being. I feel like this constantly. You know, I wake up and I wonder, is God even real sometimes? You know, and that's faith. Faith is thinking one way but believing that, you know, what faith is believing even in the face of doubt.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
And so you can't have faith if you don't have doubt.
I
It's
agree.
the same thing with everything that I say as far as like the freedom of choice. You know what I mean? Like in order for your yes to have value, the no has to have enough value. You know, like when you wake up every morning as a married guy, you know, like every day I choose my wife, you know. I could totally leave tomorrow and go to like Vermont or something.
Facts.
And like
I don't know about Vermont.
just
but
dip out. But you know what I'm saying? Like I could just dip out, you know? We all have the ability to just dip out. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like nothing is, I was like, you know, sometimes you're in a fight and you're like, hey, maybe I can, no, I'm kidding. No.
Not for real. You're like,
but
I'm
like-
out of here. I'm not going to stick around with this thing that's hard. And at the end of the day, you're saying that you're choosing.
You choose
how it feels.
you choose your wife constantly and you choose your yes. And every single morning you're choosing your faith with God,
That's
you know?
good. That's good. I love that,
I just
bro.
want to touch on that because I feel like it resonated with me in my personal walk this last year. And in a way, I just kind of got fed up with the American church in a lot of ways. And I think that's what kind of the unprofessional Christian theme kind of exposes is that facade and that masquerade that oftentimes we put on, like going into the church walls and you walk through the doors and people are smiling and then they play the 3 worship songs and then the sermon happens and you leave, you get lunch and go watch the Cowboys play. It's like there's people
out at the blueprint.
I'm serious, man. I really
Texas
get fed up
blueprint.
with it. You know, the Texas blueprint, that Southern hospitality, for real.
Facts.
Exactly. And it just resonated with me with depression and all these things that you feel like you're asking God to free you from. And why am I going through this? I'm feeling damned. I'm feeling condemned. I'm feeling abandoned, feeling lost like a sojourner and just out of the way. Oh, you want to?
That's facts. That's facts.
I remember when we were recording the song, like I had like a panic attack that night. Like it was just too real of a recording for me. And it was like the first time that I had like recorded something and I was like, "Oy."
Yeah.
like yo.
And I remember texting you. I was on a run that night listening to it, and I tried to like affirm you and your creative voice at that point in time, not even knowing you were having a panic attack that night.
Oh, dude,
That's crazy.
I was absolutely fuming, dog.
Yeah, I feel like at
was
the end
done.
of the day, bro, like that's also a price of being authentic. I think the part of the reason why authenticity is so hard is because the enemy wants it to be as hard as possible. You know what I mean? And so I really appreciate Damn for that reason. I think like when you're able to be comfortable with the notion of God damning, from an Old Testament perspective, we understand that like Jesus died on the cross for our sins. When it comes to the New Testament, we understand that. But it doesn't change the fact that there are things that God says yes to and God says no to. And yet within his black and white mentality, he still meets us in the gray. That's the whole point of Jesus, right? So I think like, I love that we were able to encapsulate that in a song and that accentuates the rest of the project. And I really love like elements in that song too. Like there's whiskey with ice in a cup at the end of the song. There's gunfire when it comes to the point in which it feels so blunt to feel this feeling of damning. There's so many elements to that song in particular that's based on feeling and not as much on words. And that's why I think that stands out versus something like Liquor and Cheese where it's straight up mixtapey and you're just talking straight up about like this dynamic. Yeah. So we really provided a spectrum for different people to connect with the song.
I was conflicted, misusing my influence.
Misusing your influence. All right, let's talk about the last song before we get up out of here. Let's talk Loco.
John, you want to?
Listen, I want to start with Loco. My verse on Loco, the reason why I think my verse on Loco is crazy is because at the end of the day, I'm sure that died just now. One camera's down. So if you see me over here, I'm talking to you over here. Is the fact is Loco has a line at the end where I say that John has been through all the scrutiny
and Brod has been writing
and Brody be writing out eulogies. The persecution, it's not new to we. What they call crazy, we call jubilee. You know, and that's based on that Isaiah year of the favor, right? And I think we're we're finally like encapsulating the whole idea of the struggle, but then it's this level of, but this is worship. This is worship to us. The way we're willing to be the ones that you think are crazy and accept the persecution that'll come, that this podcast itself will have, because some people won't like what we have to say. That we do that in the spirit of jubilee and excitement and joy that God has saved us. And so I think, like, let's talk about that. What does loco have to do in regards to that notion?
Well, it's just like it's one of those weird scenarios where in a story the characters don't learn from their trials, and that such is the faith of Christianity, is that there's some of us that are never going to learn from our trials and are going to continue to have a thorn in our side.
Yeah.
And yet we're going to continue to worship God and chase after God, even though we have all this. Like, I love that Loco is the last track, and I love that Loco is after the interlude, because it's like all three of us have just spent this whole project just being like, what the heck are we doing
Facts.
as believers?
Oh, I love that, bro.
And then at the end, we're just like, but we're crazy, and you're going to think we're crazy because we still kind of believe this. And well, not kind of, but like we believe this, and we're gonna keep doing it.
Facts.
And it's just like, it's like one of those. I was thinking of The Usual Suspects.
Oh,
I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, of course. Classic, bro.
Yeah, where it's like,
You ever seen Usual Suspects?
you should watch it.
Ooh,
It's
you gotta
so
watch
good.
it with,
Usual Suspects is so
What is it?
good.
Kaiser
Something. It's Kaiser Soze.
Kaiser Soze.
Kaiser Soze,
Kaiser
dude.
Soze.
Freaking the
Shout outs to
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, Kevin
Shout out
Spacey.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
No.
Actually, we don't shout out Kevin
Pause.
Spacey. We take that back.
No, actually, we love Kevin Spacey on this podcast.
Because God loves.
Kevin Spacey, and we're called to love. He just, bro, fourth quarter came out of the closet, dude. Sorry, I had to say it. Fourth quarter. They said, you're a
Usual
pedophile.
Suspects.
He said,
This
I'm
song
gay.
is on some Usual Suspects. Stop me. Let's go back to it, John.
Sorry, I'm
Let's
sorry.
go back to it, bro.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking, you just had to, you know how like Yu-Gi-Oh, you have a face down card? Kevin Spacey is like,
It's a trap card.
they're like, yeah, they're like, yo, Kevin Spacey, you're a pedophile. And he goes, face down card. I was gay the whole time. Yikes. Sorry.
Unprofessional Christians, baby.
Unprofessional. Hey, we're being authentic. No, but like, soon off the rails. We're gonna lose all our sponsorships.
Hold it down.
Sorry, my bad.
Hold it down.
I'm trying to do bits.
You're facts. You're talking about the idea of it being like Unusual Suspects.
It's okay.
Usual
Yeah. So it's like Unusual Suspects, where it's like, you know, Kevin Spacey's character is the main character.
Yeah.
He doesn't learn anything throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
In fact, if you look at like Usual Suspects as like you know, a Greek mythology like, you know, thing, like they would always say like the character faces trials that lead to a climax, that lead to a resolution.
Yes.
And the character's grown from that.
Yeah.
And the usual suspects in our project is a lot like that.
That's good, bro.
We are characters, we introduce ourselves, we introduce the problem, we introduce the climax, only die once, damn, liquor and cheese.
Yeah.
Or the climax could be us facing the questions of our faith.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with that? What are we gonna do with our society? And then at the end of it, we're just like, we're gonna stick it out. Like,
Facts.
we're just gonna stay here, and it's like literally Kaiser Soze like limp walking into a regular walk at the end.
Yeah.
And now we can do kind of whatever with whatever comes
You need
next.
to see that movie. I agree
You
with
should
that.
see that movie.
I agree with that big time. And the reality is, it's like that is what makes him the antagonist of that story, right? What makes him the antagonist is that you don't recognize or know until the end that he's the actual bad guy. You
Bro,
think
it
he's
makes
a
him the
protagonist.
antagonist and the protagonist. One could
Exactly.
say
Oh my-
that we are our own villains.
Talk about it. I mean,
One could say that we are our own problem.
God died for a reason, right? And he died to save us. So if we are both protagonists and antagonists, we're both crown creation and utter sinners.
Bro, if you-
and I think we embody
I mean,
that
if you
within
think
this
about
project,
it,
bro.
if you think about it, God had to remind us what we're living for
That's a
by
fact.
sending Jesus.
That's a fact.
We became our own enemy, and he had to save us from ourselves, and that's essentially what this project is.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to kind
It's us saving us from ourselves.
Absolutely, bro. That's it.
And I guess that's what I kind of touched on in the verses, like, you know, just piggybacking on your piggyback.
Go.
I'm echoing your echo.
My favorite
as
line
I
of your
echo.
verse is Ronda Rousey in the
Yeah,
kicking
yeah,
with
that's what
Ronda
I'm
Rousey.
saying. Like, yeah, basically, I was like, you know, glitter or gold, pick your poison. It's a glitter or gold. One thing that I know for sure, you live and you learn. And Mama always told me, don't put your hand on the stove.
Right.
I know. But basically, yeah, just talking about everything that you pursue at the end of the day. Like, if it's not the Lord, it's, vanity.
Yeah.
You know, it's like going on a kamikaze with Ronda Rousey, sipping cocktails, yada yada, whatever the line is. But I'm saying, like, you're basically at your downfall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that what sums up all the project.
Yes.
And the end of it.
Yeah,
It does.
when like I've had people like listen to this track and listen to this project and they're like, it kind of threw me for a loop, Loco, because Jon ends the whole track with like, "Am I with the damned or the ones that get more?" And then you open the like your next line on Loco is, "We're so down like the NASDAQ."
Facts.
It's like, what?
Facts.
It's like this guy just sat here drinking whiskey, like asking if he was even favored, and then now he's like, "Man, I'm so down."
Yes. And I think that's good music. I think when it comes to doing music for the glory of God, I think that's good music. I think that is what Christian hip hop is missing. I think Christian hip hop is too clean. I think it's too polished.
I mean, how many times have no diss or nothing, but how many times have you heard the Lord's grace? I'm running this race,
Bro.
His throne I gotta chase till I seek His face.
How many times do
this
we hear
off the words? I'm feeling like Pastor Mace.
How many times do we hear
keep going,
dudes? How many times do we hear dudes basically just like stealing scripture and putting it into writtens? Like, for me, when I grew up, that's called plagiarizing, bro. And at the end of the day, the scripture is powerful and strong. And
The only ones that I
love.
love that have did that was Shyland, Beautiful
Yes,
Eulogy.
but it's about doing it in a context that's poetic, in a context
I love that.
that involves you investing your own humanity.
The
in
storytelling aspect is
God-
like what's absent, that actual humanity of Jesus, the sympathize with the weakness
Precisely.
part of it. You can get
Precisely.
theological.
Yes,
But-
that humanity is the stage.
And I'm not talking about
which-
compromising and saying things out of the whack or
No.
being degrading, right? But
It's
just
about
think outside the box.
authenticity.
And that's why I don't, people be like, "Oh, I don't want to see this movie," or yada yada yada, and I don't want to listen to this. But it's like, all right, put the Song of Solomon on the screen. Put Elijah depressed about to kill himself because what's her name? Jezebel is about to, seeking for his death. Put that on the screen in the story. Put the wars and deaths
Right.
on the screen.
Right.
And then it's too dirty.
Where do we get the stories from?
Yeah.
What do we think is the greatest story of all time? It's Christ coming, bro. It's God and the way He's moved through humanity. And so I feel like we kind of gave our own shot at that through our own experiences. And that's why I think this project is special. You end your verse with "You and me, we got the UAV. We're locked in." And the reality is, like, we have someone, because of what Jesus did for us, we're locked in and we have vision, even though we have to guide and live life by faith.
Like Call of Duty, a UAV. Have you played it?
UAV, you and me, we locked in.
Shout out Call of Duty, official sponsor of the podcast.
All I'm saying is that I think that this project is special because there's blood, sweat, and tears in it. And I think the best stuff, the stuff that really is special and timeless, that creates classics, is stuff that where the creative had to show up and it cost them something to get involved in this creative project. And so I think, like, for me, what I want to say to each of you is thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to not only record this, have you come over to my house and eat all of my Trader Joe's inner peas chips, you feel me? But also really get to the nitty gritty of what matters. I think it reinvigorated my faith at a time that I very much needed it. And so I hope that it does that for the people who listen to the project as well.
It's just cool to walk through with y'all as a brotherhood. Like, I can go with y'all, I can laugh, I can cry, I can talk about the real stuff. And I think that's what we got to do. You got to have that circle, and music is just an avenue to be able to bond through that experience.
Yes, sir.
So,
I agree, bro. I agree.
any last words, Bern, before we close? Because I feel like one of these cameras just stopped recording,
Something's
and
gonna
we just gonna drop this
Something
on a
gonna
podcast
die.
on Spotify and then call it a day.
Something gonna
Worst
die.
case scenario.
Yeah, you get video for some of it, maybe not all of it.
No, I'd say I would echo that. Like, for me, it was really good. It was a really good, like, experience getting to work these, like, creative muscles and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I had a blast. It was fun. Yeah, I don't know what else. What else do you want to say?
I just want to echo your echo. I'm just kidding.
I'm dead. Well,
Echo
listen,
your echo.
we thank you so much for tuning in to my first episode of The Projection. There's more things coming out.
Pew, pew.
The Unprofessional Christians made this again in 2024. We dropped it at kickoff 2025.
Yerp.
But there are other things coming out. We've got a boardroom project that's dropping very soon. We've also got a project that I've been working on with Griffin Stone that has to do with the King Arthur allegory. So stay tuned for that. We're just really excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for an Unprofessionals 2. We got
Maybe.
John's making an album. Brod's gonna come out of retirement and stop acting like he ain't designed a rap. Like,
Catch me,
he be writing eulogies. Like, what are we talking about? Anyways, man.
You can catch me in Grand Prairie on June 20th.
Facts. That's the thing that's crazy. These guys are multi-hyphenates. This dude does so much production for so many companies. Brod is so talented in everything that he does. God's got his hand on him. And then Jon, the same thing. This rap is a hobby for him. He does freaking comedy. He sells. He loves his wife. He does everything, bro. And I just think at the end of the day, like,
That's one of my hobbies, is loving my wife.
That's a fact. All I'm saying
on
is
God.
that God's blessed us, and we felt like this was the time to hop on the track, put a project together, such a time as this. And so, like you said, 2 or 3 are gathered. If 2 or 3 are gathered, then Lord is here. He's closer than we think that he is, right? As cited on the project. So,
Which means Kevin Spacey is even closer.
oh my gosh. We love you guys. We're thankful for you tuning in wherever you're tuning in. And we'll catch you on the next episode of The Projection. IV out. Peace.
The road soulless, but only if you don't know Jehovah. I stay clay and I take the shape of the one who molds us.
Needlessly facing these problems, I know I'm worth it. I'm hurting, flirting with death. I'm running and chasing God's purpose.